Blackwood Forest, a place shrouded in mystery and fear. Even its name whispered fear, sending chills down the spine of anyone who dared to speak it aloud. Locals spoke of it in hushed tones, their voices barely above a whisper, as if the forest itself could hear them. They told tales of vanished souls and strange lights that danced among the trees, stories passed down through generations. The forest stood on the edge of civilization, a boundary between the known and the unknown. A wall of ancient trees swallowed the sunlight, casting perpetual shadows on the forest floor. Their twisted branches clawed at the sky as if trying to escape the darkness below. The air hung heavy and still, thick with the scent of secrets long buried. It carried the scent of damp earth and decay, a reminder of the forest's ancient and untamed nature. This was a place forgotten by time. Forgotten, but not empty. It was alive with an eerie presence. The forest floor was a tangled mess of roots and fallen leaves, a testament to the forest's wild and untamed spirit. Fallen leaves muffled every step, creating an unnerving silence that seemed to swallow all sound. Broken only by the rustle of unseen creatures, the forest seemed to be alive with hidden eyes. It felt like something was watching, waiting. The feeling of being observed was inescapable. The very air hummed with a strange energy, a vibration that seemed to resonate with the forest's ancient power. A sense of dread clung to anyone foolish enough to enter, a warning that this was a place where the ordinary rules did not apply. Four friends stood at the forest's edge, their hearts pounding with a mix of excitement and trepidation. Drawn by the legends and the thrill of the unknown, they couldn't resist the call of the mysterious woods. Emma, the photographer, always seeking the perfect shot, felt a magnetic pull towards the forest's dark beauty. Her camera was an extension of herself, capturing the world as she saw it. She saw beauty in the macabre, finding art in the shadows and the eerie.
There's something hauntingly beautiful about this place. It's like the forest has its own soul.
David, the skeptic, refused to believe the stories. To him, it was all just folklore and superstition. He saw this as a chance to prove them wrong, to show that there was nothing to fear.
It's just a forest, nothing more. People let their imaginations run wild.
Lucy, the historian, was fascinated by the forest's past. She had read countless tales of its history. She craved knowledge, even if it came at a price. The stories of old intrigued her deeply.
Every legend has a grain of truth. We just need to find it.
And Tom, the adventurer, lived for the adrenaline rush. The forest was his playground. He was eager to conquer his fear, to face whatever challenges lay ahead.
Let's see what this forest is really made of. We're ready for anything.
They were experienced hikers, having tackled many trails before, well equipped and prepared for anything. Or so they thought. They had the best gear and the strongest resolve. They had mapped their route meticulously, packed supplies for days. Their excitement was palpable, almost infectious. They joked about the legends, trying to mask their underlying fears with laughter, but a sliver of unease lingered in their eyes. The forest held secrets, and they were about to uncover them. The forest welcomed them with an oppressive silence. The sunlight struggled to penetrate the thick canopy. Shadows danced around them, twisting familiar shapes into something sinister. The air grew colder. It seemed to wrap around them like a damp shroud. Each step deeper into the woods felt like a step further from reality. As they hiked, the trees seemed to press closer, their branches intertwined overhead, forming a natural prison of wood and leaf. The trail became harder to follow, almost as if the forest itself was trying to disorient them. The jokes died down, replaced by a heavy silence. Their breath appeared as clouds in the chilly air. Each inhale filled their lungs with the unsettling atmosphere of the woods. The silence was broken by a faint sound, a whisper carried on the wind. It seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. The friends stopped, listening intently. Their hearts pounded in their chests. Was it their imagination, or was the forest speaking to them?
Did you hear that? It sounded like whispering.
They continued on. Their pace quickened. The whispers grew louder, still unintelligible, but undeniably human. Emma swore she saw movement in the shadows, a fleeting glimpse of something unnatural. When she pointed it out to the others, it was gone.
I saw something, I swear, right there.
Doubt crept in. Was it the forest playing tricks on them, or was something truly sinister at play? The trees thinned, revealing a clearing. The dense foliage gave way to an open space, bathed in an unsettling twilight. In the center stood an ancient stone shrine, its presence commanding attention amidst the surrounding wilderness. Its surface was weathered and cracked, covered in strange symbols that seemed to writhe in the fading light. These symbols, etched deeply into the stone, hinted at forgotten rituals and long-lost secrets. The air here felt different, charged with an unseen energy. It was as if the very atmosphere was alive, pulsating with a mysterious force that made the hairs on the back of one's neck stand on end.
Drawn by an unseen force, Emma raised her camera and snapped a photo of the shrine. She felt an inexplicable urge to capture the moment, as if the shrine itself was calling out to her.
As she lowered the camera, a cold hand brushed against her neck. She gasped, spinning around, her heart pounding in her chest. But there was no one there. The clearing was empty, the shadows playing tricks on her mind. Her friends, alerted by her cry, rushed to her side. Their faces were etched with concern, their eyes scanning the dark forest for any signs of danger.
What was it? The question hung in the air, filled with fear and uncertainty.
David asked, his voice tight with concern. He looked around, trying to make sense of what had just happened. Emma, shaken but determined, showed them the photo. Her hands trembled as she held it out, the image revealing more than she had anticipated. There, hovering over the shrine, was a translucent figure. It seemed to float above the stone, its form barely visible in the dim light. Its eyes glowed an eerie white, piercing through the darkness and sending chills down their spines. The figure's presence was both mesmerizing and terrifying, a ghostly reminder of the past that refused to be forgotten. A chill ran down their spines as they stared at the photo. The figure was unmistakable, a ghostly apparition captured in the digital frame. Fear warred with curiosity. They decided to investigate the shrine, hoping to find answers, or at the very least an explanation for the unsettling image.
The symbols on the shrine were unlike anything they had ever seen.
Lucy, her fingers tracing the ancient markings, felt a cold dread creep into her heart. She recognized the language. It was archaic, long forgotten, the language of the occult. The symbols spoke of a dark history, of rituals and sacrifices, of a malevolent entity bound to the forest.
The whispers returned.
Louder this time. They seemed to be all around them, taunting them. S1, media, taunting shadows in a dark forest, close-up of faces hearing taunting whispers in the dark. Closer!
They could make out words now.
Murmured threats, pleas for help. Their voices overlapped, creating a chorus of despair.
Then they saw them.
Figures flitting through the trees. Their eyes glowed with an unnatural light, the same eerie white as the figure in the photo.
Terror seized them.
They were surrounded.
Panicked, they stumbled back, desperate to escape the clearing.
But the forest seemed to shift around them. The trees, once stationary, appeared to close in, blocking their path.
They were trapped.
David, his skepticism crumbled, pulled out their map. It was useless. The markings swam before his eyes. The forest was disorienting them. They were lost and alone, at the mercy of whatever lurked in the shadows. The ghostly figures edged closer, their forms solidifying, becoming more distinct. They reached out with skeletal hands. Their touch promised unimaginable cold. The friends huddled together, fear paralyzing them. They closed their eyes, bracing for the inevitable. When they opened their eyes, the figures were gone. The clearing was empty, except for their belongings. Their backpacks, their supplies. Even Emma's camera lay scattered on the ground. But the friends were nowhere to be found. Search parties scoured Blackwood Forest for weeks. They found no trace of the missing hikers, no sign of a struggle, no indication of what had happened to them. The case went cold. The mystery remained. Weeks later, a lone ranger stumbled upon Emma's camera. It was lying beneath the ancient shrine. Its lens was cracked, but the memory card was intact. He downloaded the photos. His blood ran cold. The last photo on the card showed the four friends. Their faces were frozen in expressions of pure terror. And behind them, a translucent hand emerged from the shadows, reaching towards Emma's camera.